Hello, everybody, and welcome to Silent Podcast, the place where everything but silent. I'm your host, Isaiah, substituting for Cheyenne, Sarah, and Jeanette, and I'm here with Ganja. What's going on, Ganja?
What's up, Isaiah? How you doing?
Uh, go ahead.
No, I ain't gonna say shit. I was say how you doing, sir.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I mean, look, this is your territory, so I should be asking you. This is your I'm on your turf right now.
Yeah, I like being second in command here, but I feel it. No, this I'm doing chill. I mean, my week has been just as sporadic and chaotic as this week has been in the Big Brother house. I've been up and down everywhere just as much as their
Mhm.
little minds been. So, how do you feel like it's been going this week? Like where do you think it started and where do you think it ended?
Well, this week honestly has been chaotic. I think to answer your question, it ended right when it started, where Arissa announced the fake HOH twist, right? And it's like, all right, the episode that we just saw, I was very happy with the results. It excited me to the point that I didn't expect to be excited. I expected a lot of disappointment. But with that being said, I feel like this is ultimately going to really hurt people's game, specifically Ty, where he just took a big shot at two people, specifically Jed. And I'm pretty sure if he knew that it was going to be a fake HOH, that he wouldn't do this. And under normal circumstances, this blindside would be one of the craziest blindsides in like Big Brother history, and it still is. But if Jed gets back in the house, which we're all assuming he will be, with Tara being the competition, because he should be able to beat her.
Mhm.
It's he's going to come after Ty, and Ty is the reigning HOH who can't compete in the next HOH. So, like 360 putting it all together, it's like it's going to ruin Ty's game. But other than that, like it was exciting to watch as a fan, but as a player, it was just like, ugh, like you guys are kind of like ruining this for me. I think they should have did it earlier.
I personally feel like I agree with that. I feel like the week we had was on fire. I love using that metaphor because when something is really good and it's just really, I won't say chaotic and really, up in the air, I think this last week was on fire because Jay using a veto on Beth to him becoming the target to him actually getting voted out. The whole story was set up to be so perfect. And then for some reason they didn't trust their players enough, especially late game, to throw a fake double in there to not for them to basically to feel like that you have to give them multiple chances to make the right decision. Even though I must give them they just do. They have been acting like they need some help, but with all the circling around, they always really end up on the right target. Like no matter how much waffling people talk about that these house guests do, they go back and forth, but they end up on the proper target to take out. The one thing they didn't take out was Kiefer, but that's beside the point. I feel like all the gameplay this week really got stifled. Like you said, Ty got put in a very peculiar position. Now he thinking it's the final four. They all set up thinking they're good, even though this is not the perfect final four for Ty, but he thinking, he had to get to the final four somehow. And now one person about to come in that you just took out. You took out both of them, basically. You took out Jed and Tara. And not only is one of them coming in, one of them can compete, you cannot. So it's kind of like you set your players up for failure. Ultimately, I feel like Brayden also set himself up for failure in this situation. But you got the two sides of the coin. You got production, implementing a fake double with no reason behind it, and then you got actual players making bad decisions in said double.
So something I think that would be fun for us to do is I guess we can go down the list of people that we know for sure are still in the game, leaving out Tara and Jed, and I guess we can kind of determine if they handled this week correctly, and if that's cool with you.
No, I like that. No, that's a really good idea. I like that.
Okay, so we can start off with Ty, like we started with Ty, like we said, honestly, if this is a regular week of Big Brother, it's like successful in the stance where he's almost getting put in a position of power, almost where he would be set up to like almost run a majority of the rest of the game. He would be having to battle Kiefer a little bit with power, but he would be in like that number 1 or 2 position when it comes to a commanding role. But with that being said, with this twist happening, it's almost kind of screwing him over because I think Jed's going to come back. I think a lot of people think Jed's coming back after he pulled this very big blindside off. And with that happening, Jed's going to come back in the game with limited options to work with people. And he's obviously going to want to work with people like Beth. I think Jed's going to look at the Kiefers, the Ties, and I don't think he's going to feel as hurt towards Brayden. So it's like, Ty honestly can't compete for HOH, and it's probably going to get thrown under the bus by his allies the same way that Jed got thrown under the bus by his allies. So it's not the best way. I honestly think he's getting a little bit screwed by production here. But I do think his nominations of Beth and Tara were smart. It's honestly in the hands of everyone else at that point. But what do you think about Ty and how did he handled yesterday?
I feel like Ty made the proper move by obviously getting Jed out. I think he didn't really have much of a choice, but so let's say fast forward, Jed at the house, they play HOH, Ty end up balling out, end up winning. It sucks. It sucks so much worse because it was a day's competition and he exposed that he was good at his days. So they have more reasons to take Ty out at this point. But Ty wins HOH, and then Ty makes a decision where Ty puts Tara and Beth. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Them the nominees I feel like Ty had to make because he's not gonna put up Brayden, and he feels like he already screwed over Kiefer, and if he risks Kiefer life, really, it could be bad, basically. So he was thinking like that. What he actually put himself in a position where if either side wanted to split the vote, let's say it's 1-1, Tara Beth, he gets to make the decision, which I most definitely feel like they should have done to make him make a decision no matter what. But I feel like Ty put himself in a spot where he was like, okay, I got Brayden, I got Kiefer for the final 4, and one of them, Beth or Tara, is going home. I think Beth can identify that Kiefer is the biggest target. So, like you said, that 1 and 2 position, if you are at the final 4, because I'm thinking as Ty, thinking he's about to be in the final 4, you're thinking, okay, I can't play HOH, but I either have to win veto or Brayden has to win veto or Kiefer has to win veto, and whoever I'm sitting next to will save me. And I think he was trying to set himself up for that. And I think he got scared of Tara because he felt like she might actually usurp that position. The problem is Tara going home was kind of bad for Ty because he can take ownership for this Jed blindside, but like, is he beating Kiefer? Is he beating Beth? You're going to try to say, like, I think Beth is going to get some respect thrown on her name at the end because if she's by herself without the boys, she's going to get I don't know, we're talking about Beth right now, but in Ty's situation, she's going to probably get talked about as leading the boys to the end and actually just waiting for them to get slaughtered. So that's later thinking, but I think Ty put himself in a spot where he thought he would be safe. But I even think the decision he made, even thinking he was going to the final 4 with these people, was a bad decision. I think you have to take either Beth or Kiefer out no matter what. Like, one of them had to go in that situation because you're looking like the ringleader with Brayden and Tara and either Beth or Kiefer left in the game, besides Kiefer probably.
Now, I do think it was important for him to take Jed out. I mean, it's fair to say that maybe if he waited like one more round, then I think that possibly could have been the correct move. But all we know, he wins HOH next week and they don't get an opportunity like this. So I'm like half and half. I'm really like, there's pros and cons to taking him out this week, but it's just like, go ahead.
Yeah, also showed Ty that he was willing to actually save Beth over Ty. So that's my whole thing, that Ty was probably peeping on, like, okay, I understand I'm really the third in here. Like, Beth's taking Jed's taking Beth. Like, one of them has to go. Like, this was the correct move. Like, it feels so bad. And I wish Ty had an actual HOH to sit on and not have
Yeah.
to be quick, fast, and in a hurry. He not only got screwed up by it being a fake double, he got screwed up by winning this and actually really exposing himself, thinking he about to get somebody out, and it's about to be 5 people again.
Production screwing them over, man. I'm telling you, production screwing them over.
I got a question. Do you think they're going to let him compete or just automatic no? Because if this was a fake
I don't think they're going to let him compete.
I don't think they will either.
I don't think they're going to let him because it's technically it's a fair week. It's not like a reset.
Somebody actually did left the house.
It's a battle back. It's going to be a battle back per se. I know it says fake HOH. It's really it's a real double, but someone's just going to be able to have an opportunity to come back. That's all it is. So I mean, it's fair game at that point. It sucks, but.
So do you think, do you think if they, do you think if they tell them this is better? Like if they tell them there's going to be a double and not it being fake, basically just don't say it's fake. Just like you're letting one of the two of them come back in. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's kind of like branding it.
I don't have an issue with the twist. I think I have an issue with when they decided to do it. Because I think they should have either did it beginning of Jury where Vic and Rohan went out. I think that would have been an interesting thing to see. And I also think they could have did it super early in the game when there were still pre-jurors, because I think like a Latoya area or even like a Julie area, you know, it's like that would have been the correct place to do it, but not now where we're getting into endgame and people are trying to set up their games and their resumes and stuff, and now they're going to be in this position where they're afraid to blindside people now, because it's like now you got to worry about this stupid twist, you know, and it's showing that Big Brother is almost rewarding this type of gameplay that you have to stay loyal no matter what. And that's not the game we want to see. Like, we've been begging for this type of gameplay. People backstabbing people like crazy. Like, this is like OG Big Brother, and this is an amazing season.
I had an observation, like, I guess a couple days ago this week. I just thought about it again, but I think that layoff, Big Brother 8, they kind of had a season, not really. That layoff, I think, helped reset, you know, the public's, like, you know, thought process of how to play Big Brother. Okay, because I like how Survivor goes. They say the season, let's say 2 seasons later plays like the previous 2 seasons, because that's the last season they saw before they went out to film it. So they're going to play that season, and you're going to have kind of mindset like that. So I think them not having a Big Brother in Canada last year actually helped, because a lot of people aren't making the stereotypical game body decisions. A lot of the times they're just falling into the right spot. So it's like a different viewpoint of actually getting to the same goal. And I think that's why the season been so good. Like, people want to knock on every player for actually being so bad strategically and everything. But at this point, this is not a strategic season. That, like, it has never been. I'm not gonna hold you up. They've been trying to stop flips this entire season. That's what they've been trying to do, stop flips. So they didn't want the strategy there. So what you have to really lean on is personal relationships and, you know, feelings in the game. And basically, Ty did what he needed to do. I just feel like we said he got screwed. But I think the next person who most definitely screwed themselves was Brayden. I'm so disappointed. And I've been such a, okay, Brayden can chill. I'm okay with this calm gameplay. I'm good with that. I start peeping. Brayden been on the block, 3 times? And he's never got an eviction vote against him. So if Brayden gets to the end, he has a case to be like, listen, I may have been on the block, but nobody even dared to throw a vote on me because they didn't want to. I don't know if it's like scare tactics, whatever you got to do at the end, you have to win. But I think Brayden missed a golden opportunity to take Tara off the block and make a move. No matter what, you know, the Sunsetters exist. Kiefer told you about the Sunsetters. So that's a resume move to even say that. Like, I know even if this was like, I want to say it's quote unquote fake, like you said, it's a real double. No matter what, how you want to flip it, and Brayden would have made a move in a double, just so happened somebody got the battle back in. So I think Brayden could have got more respect on his name. It's not so much winning a veto that's really important, is using it, because that's what happened with Rohan. Rohan didn't use the veto with Austin and Brayden. He did not use, and I feel like that was the veto he had to use. He took himself off both other times, but that veto was the veto you had to use, and you didn't. You let your alliance members just go home. You basically let them off the dry. So I kind of buried that on Rohan, like, okay, of course you got the game. Brayden is still there. So Brady, you really should have made a move. But how did you feel about how Brayden went about, the double?
So I've felt this way about Tina, and I felt this way about Brayden. I feel like they have been in the best positions all season, but they just didn't utilize their spots. This is the time to start really creating like a resume for yourself. You got Kiefer, who was on his way out, and then he convinced people not to take him out. You have Ty and Beth now, who committed one of the biggest blindsides in Big Brother history. And if Tara stayed theoretically at this point, Tara also is a huge underdog. And then you got Brayden, who's kind of, and he's not playing a bad game, but like sitting next to one of those people, it doesn't help your case. So I think honestly, if he did this here, right, where you take a shot in blindside potentially either Beth or Kiefer and keep Tara, it's going to be a 2v2 at that point. And it's like perfect. Like it's a shot in the dark, but at least you're giving yourself a better shot to win the game. And even if you are in that position where you're put on the block, I do think Tara goes before you because Ty has a connection to Brayden, and Ty has more incentive to keep a Brayden over a Tara. So it's like this would have been the chance to make a huge move for himself. But I think that he got cold feet, and I think he was afraid of the repercussions that come with it. But this is Big Brother. You have to take those shots. Now, with his vote, where he voted out Tara instead of Beth, I get that because Kiefer was never going to vote Beth, and Ty was never going to split the vote in Beth's favor. I mean, Tara's favor, so that's fine. But the veto, honestly, was a perfect place for him to really take this game by control. Like I remember seeing Big Brother 15, and this was the spot where Andy, for example, the double where he got the huge blindside on Alyssa and Trick McCray and all those people. That was the place where I could have saw for Brayden, where like you're in the perfect middle spot. This is your point to take the game by the horns, and he just didn't do it. So, it's unfortunate to see. Maybe if he wins an HOH, he'll get another opportunity to do something big, but I just don't see it. I think it's over. It's too late.
I don't think he's the, I don't want to call him not alpha, but I just don't think he's the alpha player. Like even when he was linked up with Austin, I feel like Austin was the alpha player in that situation. And I don't think Brayden wants to take the control of the game. And I think Brayden doesn't understand Brayden will never win if he doesn't take control of the game, if he doesn't prove that he has stake. You can only get by so much just being likable. Like they're only going to respect you so much just for being nice. Because just as much as I was making a case for Brayden, I could destroy Brayden's case right down and say you did nothing. Like everybody left you in the game because nobody was scared of you. Everybody felt like, you were beatable. So you kind of were a non-entity. Like we took out your duo, the other person, because we felt them being stronger than you. So it's easy to really to disrupt Brayden's game. And I don't think Brayden understands he's on a tightrope right now. Like not only are you might stay in the game, you're on tentative orders staying in the game too, but like you're going to you decided to go to the Final Four with a whole alliance that's been in alliance without you this entire time. If you really want to think about it, you decide to go to the Final Four with an entire alliance. That's crazy. And guess what? You might go to the Final Five with that entire alliance because Tara might be out of here and Jen might be coming back in. So by collateral damage, Brayden just might go home. Like Brayden's in the most danger this next week, I feel, because if Jed comes back in, let's say Jed wants to make a move on Ty. Say Ty wins veto. Jed may not want to put Kiefer on the block, but Brayden will probably end up on the block no matter what. If Jed, most definitely, I think Ty and Brayden will go up if Jed came back in. I wholeheartedly believe that.
I agree.
It makes the most sense. Ty just flipped on you cold-heartedly. Beth cried her little eyes out. She flipped on Jed as well, but she was just better at masking the flip and not making it feel like she inherently flipped on Jed, but the alliance flipped on Jed and she just had to be a part of it. And I think he respects Kiefer. So I just feel like Ty and Brayden will be on the block. And if Ty wins veto, Brayden is probably going home. Because what incentive does Kiefer or Beth have to keep Braden, maybe Beth, but
exactly. I think he's right after Ty in a huge vulnerable spot. Like I think Kiefer hit it on the nose this week where he said, "You put me up on the block last week." Like he has a reason. And I think Jed's going to be like, "Yeah." And then like I said, with the people left in the game, you can hate these people all you want, but if you want to make it to the end, you need people to work with you. So, it's going to be a tough road for Braden. I even today, if he were to sit in the final two, like let's say he somehow gets himself there, I just don't know if he's going to have the resume to win the game against anybody at this point.
mm-hmm.
So time will tell. But missed opportunity for sure.
A very missed opportunity.
So the next person is Beth, where Beth is in a very interesting spot, right? And I think this should have been the time to take her out, but I see why they didn't. And it's like I think even Kiefer, you saw when he was voting, he was like, "I hate this week," because I think he really wanted to do it, but it's like Ty's not going to split it into Beth's favor. Like he's going to keep Beth over Tara, and even if Kiefer did do this, Tara has vocally said that she was going to target Kiefer in previous weeks. Tara has said that she wanted to put up Jed and Ty in previous weeks, so they could want Beth out all they want, but Tara has literally publicly shown that she wants to go after those two. So I see why they didn't keep her. Now, with that being said, for Beth, she's in a beautiful spot right now. And I think if Jed doesn't return, which I have a hard time seeing happen, but if Jed doesn't return, she's going to go to the jury house, and I think despite this being Ty's move, I think Beth's going to get a lot of credit for it, specifically since they were in the showmance, and it's going to make it look like she was cutthroat. We already saw Victoria saying how she thinks that Beth is playing the second best game after Kiefer, and on top of that, even if Jed does come back in, he's most likely going to work with Beth over anyone else, and you can also make a case for that with Tara. I think Tara would work with Beth over the guys. Maybe minus Braden, but it gets complicated there. But I think Beth isn't going anywhere next week. I think the next spot that she's most vulnerable is a possible Final Four and Final Three are going to be hard rounds for her. But as of next week, I think she's fine. So a missed opportunity all around for these people to take her out, but I mean she's doing solid, and I'm honestly shocked, but I got to give respect to when it's due. So
Beth been working since Austin HOH.
Mm-hmm.
I can go back to that. Like it was one quote Austin had said. The few episodes I actually watched early on, Austin had said, "Beth is my number one, and Braden I've been cool with from the beginning." And I was like, what? I was just like, that's crazy. Once I heard that, I was just like, because I'm like, Austin and Braden are like this. What's going on? So I seen through other players that Beth was able to make some kind of connections. I was actually shook of how easy Braden just let Tara go. Even though Tara did just put Braden on the block, it was under special circumstances, and you not only not receive votes, you went up against a really big threat. So like you were on the block against somebody really like massive that his showmans had to, and his best friend had to turn on him basically for him to go home.
Yeah.
But Beth basically wanted this to happen, act like she didn't want it to happen, and now looks good to Jed. But how does my question for Beth goes to how does she explain this to the jury and explain it to Jed without basically letting Jed know that like she was a part of this? Or do you think it's not going to matter by that point?
No, I think that she has to own the move. I know it's not hers, but if she's potentially not sitting next to Ty, or even if she is sitting next to Ty, they both equally had a hand in this because they've both voted. Despite who orchestrated the plan or not, I think Jed's going to feel more hurt from Ty than he's going to feel hurt from Beth. And, that's just how it is. He doesn't have the luxury of seeing what we see as viewers. So, like I said, if she's go ahead.
No, with that being said, I think Beth is in a really good position. Like, I don't understand it though. I don't see it. Like, Beth is very transparent. Like, Beth is, but I'll give her one little thing I also picked up on. She's really good at letting the person know that they name is getting hot on the street. You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
Yeah.
even before it get too hot, she in there telling them like, listen, your name heating up. I'm trying to do this, booty bam, I'm getting this handle, and somehow she's able to handle it because she has really good relationships with all the people in the house because she's been working with all of them this entire time. So Beth is really good at relying or basically basically bringing up the fact that they all been cool for a long time. Like, she doesn't do it in that exact way, but she's really good at like basically showing them like it's like a little like square that they got because Kiefer's included in this. It's not like a full triangle, but it's a square of like trust. And I think she's always able to get them back to that. Them turning on Jed was ruthless, was crazy. Obviously best move in BB Can history. Off rip because she cut her showmans way before the final two. Like, it's
Mhm.
easy when it's easy and it's cute to do it when you at the final three, when you get the power and you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying, you're vulnerable. That's cool. But she had, like you said, she has to get through final four and final three, which are very dangerous waters for Beth. Like, she will get sniped out so easy in that spot. So if Beth is able to get through those positions, I think she's set up. But is she set up more to be than to beat Kiefer? That's the only person I feel like Beth may have a hard chance to beat.
I don't think she should want to sit next to Kiefer. I think when she says that she wants to sit next to Ty, I think she genuinely means that. And especially with Jed going out, like this is kind of like the boat you have to sink with. I don't think Brayden like she could sit next to Brayden theoretically, but I don't think Brayden feels comfortable sitting next to her. So I think honestly Brayden wants to sit next to Ty. I think Beth wants to sit next to Ty. I don't know what Kiefer wants to do. I think Kiefer knows that he just needs to make it there.
Yes.
And it's a matter for Beth specifically, articulating her game next to a Ty. Like you shouldn't want to sit next to Keith. And if you can make it happen with Bray, awesome. But I just don't see that happening. If Jed does come back and they end up sitting next to each other. At first I was going to say I think Beth has a shot at having the votes over Jed, but now that Jed is back,
Mm-hmm.
possibly,
Mm-hmm.
if Jed
If
is
Jed's back.
back, um, I think that he's automatically going to have that underdog story that like, oh, I got voted out and I'm still here, so it's really she needs to take the game by the horns at this point. I think that she's been playing a good game, but now it's like she needs to be more dominant and she needs to be more upfront,
Mm-hmm.
instead of like playing sidekick, because I think sidekick has worked perfectly for her up till now, but like this is the time that like you need to win the next HOH and you need
Mm-hmm.
to make the moves, because like otherwise, if she does another collective move with Keith and Ty, I think Keith and Ty are going to start getting more credit than
Mm-hmm.
Beth is. So
I have a question before we
mhm.
even get to talking about Kiefer.
Okay.
To talk about basically Ty and Beth, and I guess potentially Jed, do you think it was a good decision for them to keep Kiefer in the game?
um for
Like,
this,
now knowing what's going on.
yeah, I think it does make sense for those people specifically. I don't think Braden or Tara should have wanted him here. And you can make a case for Jed as well, but I think for Ty and Beth for this week specifically, it made sense because they had active deals with them. Going into a double, if he is in a position of power and he does win a HOH, those two aren't going to touch the block. And if they do, like Beth touch the block, they're going to split the vote in their favor. They're not going to
Mm-hmm.
blindside Beth. They're not going to blindside Ty. So I get, like I said, when it comes to the final vote, I understood why they didn't take out one of their own, because numbers wise it makes sense
Mm-hmm.
at this point. But I mean, if a veto was used and it's like two sunsetters up there, then you got to do what you got to do at that
Right.
point. And that's when you take a shot at Keith. But, it didn't make sense for Ty to take out Keith when you have Tara, who's actively coming for you, still sitting there. And when you have Jed, who you literally just, you're going to lose to Jed if you sit next to him. So I get it. I understand. But, it's hard. It's really hard to call because it's like at that point, do you take a shot at someone who 100% is coming for you, wants to take you out, or do you take out the person who's working with you but possibly has a good chance of winning if they sit at the end? It's a really hard position to be in at that moment.
I think first and foremost, I think you don't have measure it. I think you don't put them on a block and then save them off rip. I think that's the one thing you do not want to do, because now Kiefer has most all reason in the world to never take them to the end, or just to turn them whenever he wants, because they open that floodgate up basically. But I feel like I personally will get out somebody like Tina, because off rip, because I wouldn't want somebody who's quote unquote, I don't think Tina was floating necessarily. I don't want anybody that's not Brayden already, because if I'm working with Brayden can stay, but like I can't have too many of non-entities in the game. That makes sense. People that's not going to be targets, because when it's so many people that's not targets, somebody got to go home. So then you playing Russian roulette with who feel more comfortable with who. It's just, I just feel like with Tina being left in the house with Tara and Brayden would have been disastrous for them.
Oh, that would have been horrible. Yeah.
That would have been so bad for them.
Yeah.
But I'm really gobstopped at like why they even made the initial push to do it. Like, I don't know.
If you're going to tell someone to their face that you're taking them out, you should do it.
You have to do it.
Like I feel like the moment, it's okay to bounce back and forth between plans, but you can't tell the person to their face, I'm voting you out, because then you're going to end up like Jed, where you need this person's vote and they're like, I don't have any obligation to do this for you anymore. You didn't have my best interest, and that week specifically, I feel like if they wanted to take Keith out, that would have been great. Just don't tell him until it's time to go. Just like they didn't tell Jed till the day of, they gave Keith 3 days in advance to change the whole plan, and that's where they messed up. Keeping Tina there would have been detrimental, but you could have at least gave yourself the space to bounce between plans. But like the moment you promise someone that you're going to keep them, it's like you can't go back, or else you're going to look bad. Like I've always been the type of person where I'm like, if you don't have intentions of taking me far, like at least max final 3, I have no reason to keep you here. And Tina didn't have an active deal with Ty, where Keith did have an active deal with Ty. So I get why they went back, but they just made a huge mistake telling him to his face that you're going to go out. And then, like that was so stupid. Like now Keith has the justification to blindside any of those people. And if they ever try to fight the fact that they were loyal, he could be like, you told me you were going to take me out. Like they messed up, and that was a fatal error and one of the worst mistakes in Big Brother history in my mind. I've never seen someone be told that they're going to leave and then those same people like change their mind like the next day.
I agree heavily. I feel like leaving Kiefer in the game with an axe to grind was the worst thing they could have done. Not only Kiefer that wasn't against y'all was winning all these comps and saving y'all. Just imagine the person that was protecting y'all turning on y'all.
Yeah.
You can say like the person that actually got y'all through the first half of the game, with Victoria's help, almost single-handedly. You know what I'm trying to say? The person that's left single-handedly got y'all to this half of the game because y'all wasn't winning comps. So you have to really weigh out the pros and cons. If I'm Kiefer, I'm looking at it as I need to make a move to stay in the game. So shout out to him for staying in the game after they wanted to vote him out. And I just don't know if they think about like the butterfly effect of things. Like, I don't know if they understand that when you make certain moves, certain things start happening. So Kiefer, like you said earlier, Kiefer getting himself off the block is next to Jed getting sniped out of this game as the best moves of the game,
Yeah.
because there is no way Kiefer should have stayed out of the whole group basically deciding, like, they should have kept him, but like, you know what I'm trying to say, like, after putting him on a block, after telling him he going home, there's no way he should have stayed.
Absolutely not. And that's what I'm saying. While we're talking about Keith's game, if Keith sits in the end, like, there's no way he loses. Like, I think we even saw in the jury picture, Victoria, she was saying, yeah, I think he's playing the best game. You have Rohan, when he got eliminated, he said, I'm voting for whoever plays the best game. You got Tina, who I think trusts Kiefer. Like, she straight up, they had an alliance together.
Mhm.
So I think Kiefer, honestly, the fact that he's still here is wild. Like, they should have took the shot, not this week, last week. But like, I understand why he's still here now. But now they're in a position where if Keith, I can see Keith surviving next week. If he might be in some trouble if Ty wins veto or something, but as long as Ty is on the block, he's going to be fine. I think Keith, honestly, has a golden ticket to the Final Four. I think that's where he's going to start having some issues, because I don't think anyone has any ride or die aspirations to keep Keith to Final Two. Like, he's going to have to win himself to the end. I think
that's the thing.
He could. That's what I'm saying. It's interesting to watch. And honestly, when I was on a couple weeks in Cheyenne was giving Keith prospects, I apologize because I did not believe that. So you got me there. But he needs to figure out who is the most vulnerable, and he needs to make a final two with that person.
Brayden.
I mean, he has a deal with Ty right now, but it's like, I don't know.
I think he needs to, whoever comes back in, he either needs to go against the throuple with that extra person. So with Brayden, let's say Jed comes back, he needs to low-key be with Brayden, like, okay, if either of us win veto, we gotta take each other down, make sure we not on the block together, as best as they can. Need to make sure that they're working together. But if Tara comes back in, he low-key needs to work with Tara to get either Ty or Beth out, and not preferably Beth. And I think if Beth goes, I think Keith is in a really good position to get to the end, because Ty is good at challenges, Tara is kind of good, but I think he's winning one of the two at the Final Four, and he's at least getting to the final part 3 and the HOH, so for the final 3. So I think Keith is I think he played this game very loyal, which is obviously going to reward him at the end, but that loyalty almost got him taken out the game. So it's he has fallen into good spots, but everybody has fallen into the spot they in right now. So it's kind of I can't rag on Keith for he won a lot, but he also put himself in a predicament to get taken out, because he almost did. Yeah. But I can't take away that everybody else has also basically just waltzed their way into the spot that they in and kind of just fell into it. So
there you go. Well, Keith, like I said, when it comes to resumes, it's stacked. He automatically wins in my mind if he somehow gets there. It's literally just a matter of getting there. It's funny because when I was on a update with Taryn, he said that Kiefer's downfall eventually is going to be that he keeps memorizing these days comps incorrectly, and it's so funny that we saw the double and it was the days comp and he got almost every single one of them wrong. I'm like, oop, he called it.
And he was a 1 day off every time.
Yeah, I'm like, oof. He was memorizing incorrectly the entire time. So he needs to get that together, because I feel like as we approach the end of this game, it's going to be a lot more memory comps. We've been seeing a lot more memory and less physical this season, which is a little bizarre, but
do you think they should have did for this fake double? I feel like they should have did it.
That second challenge was a little weird. The one that Brayden
won for
veto.
Yeah, it was. I liked it because it was a pick back there, and it was a little roller. So I was like, look at this black ass comp. But but I do feel like the HOH was it was too exposing. It was I get it. You want people to be rewarded for knowing their stuff, but you really didn't even have to pay attention to what they was talking about. like the little voiceovers, you just had to know what day it happened.
You just had another day, yeah.
You just had another day, so I think it was like so pointless to do that, but whatever.
Someone said that it felt like the season has major budget cuts when it came to the challenges on Twitter. That had me die. I mean, the challenges have been pretty tacky. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah.
I mean, sometimes they don't gotta look too good, but
yeah,
they just gotta work.
I'm still enjoying myself, so I'm not complaining.
Just gotta work,
but yeah.
Okay, so if we look at Kiefer, so I'll say Kiefer won. Unfortunately, Ty can outtalk Beth, but I don't know if he can outbeat Keith in a competition.
I think if Ty gets hit to the finale and he's not sitting next to Keith, he has a good shot at winning. I just think that Beth, he's just going to have to sell his game over Beth. I think it can go either way with Beth or Ty, because I think both of them have played pretty solid games. It just depends on who can, enunciate their game in a more compelling way. If it comes to favoritism, I definitely think Ty has the better jury management. But if it comes to like a cutthroat nature, I think the jury's starting to respect Beth a little bit more. And since she didn't have these personal bonds with them, I don't think they felt as betrayed when she takes them out, because they're like, that's just how Beth is. We didn't connect with her like that. So it'll be interesting with those two. Brayden, though, you need to do something. You need to do something because it's not looking good for Brayden right now. In Jed and Tara, if they comp their way to the end somehow, they can win. Like I've seen it done before.
If Tara come back in, do you think it's a revolving door?
I think it's a revolving door. Either one of them comes in and don't win HOH or veto, they're gone. Like there's no incentive to keep someone who you backstab, because then they're so truly they're going to be like by themselves. Like everyone voted unanimously both times.
Both times, yeah.
Like they owe no one anything. Like they see everyone's true nature, and it's like I don't owe anyone anything. You saw what happened with Keith. He was like, I don't owe you anything, Judge.
Which I love to see. I love to see. Oh my god.
So whichever one of them come back, it's going to just be straight calm. Like they can try to. They're going to have the strategic factor if they're safe and not on the block, and like people need votes, but like no one's going to take them to the final two.
I think Beth will take either of them. I think Beth will take either of them to the final.
That's not a good idea for Beth, but I mean, hey, think about it. Tara, maybe.
But think about it. If Beth didn't want Jed to go home and Beth comes back in, I mean not Beth. If Jed comes back in and she did not want him to go home,
she did.
She did, but she claiming like she didn't. I think she might whoever comes back in might change up strategy, but I do agree with you saying it might be that revolving door, which is okay, I guess, because the other people technically didn't get voted out. So you feel me? So I'm like, I'm good with them being a final four if they do get to that point, but I'm also okay with some upset because they really didn't leave the game really. So I'm okay with seeing them, come shake it up a little bit. It'd be fun.
Agreed. Yeah. We're in for a good week, but I mean, I don't know. I think that's everything, right?
Do I got any complaints? Let me see. Because I mean, I was besides Ty, he had to do what he had to do, double. Brayden not using the veto, that was bad. Kiefer doing what he had to do. Beth Stan was crazy. Shout out to that. I mean, no complaints. Just I hope the real Final Five or the redo of the Final Five is at least fun to watch, even if it is a revolving door. But I'm excited for this end game because I clearly don't know who's really gonna win besides Kiefer, and I don't think we've had a season that murky this late.
This season's chaotic, and that's for sure. Listen, this is still going to be hands down one of the best seasons ever, just because of how messy it is. I mean, like Big Brother 6. That was by far the farthest thing from the most strategic season. But like years later, we love it. It's like a top 3 season in America because it was just so messy. Like, horrible like strategy all around, maybe other than Maggie, but it was still fun to watch. This is Canada's BB6,
Period. I mean, I'm stating my claim right now. I will probably put this, regardless who wins this, top 5. out of all the seasons in North America. That's how
Oh
I feel.
yeah,
Top 5, easy. Like it, I
yeah.
don't know if I'm ready to push it up like top 3 because I would have to really think, but
Mhm.
it's up there just because I feel like everybody was not an A player. Everybody was B
Mhm.
and lower. And I would actually just give everybody Bs. And I would just say they all struggled in different parts and they were all exposed and struggling in different parts. But
Yeah.
I think having B level players made it so all of these different variabilities would happen.
On a scale of like 1 to 10, I always said I don't think anyone in this cast played over like 7, and that's a very low 7. I think Tara and Braden had an opportunity, specifically Tina. That's a
Mhm.
Tara. Tina had the opportunity to be a very high player. She just never utilized her spot. So I mean, no one's over 7. There's plenty of memorable people for like
Mhm.
if you want to do an all stars to bring back, but there's no like masterminds and all that, and that's completely fine. I'm not complaining,
Yeah, I'm not
but
playing either.
like on terms of winner ranking, when we look at all the winners after this, none of them are going to be in like the top, like period. Like I'm sorry, but I mean, on terms of the season now, it's going to be up there, and I'm having a great time with my first Big Brother Canada season.
Mhm. I've kind of dabbled in, dabbed in, but I think this is
Mhm.
my first run through all the way through. I watched BB Can 5.
Yeah.
Kind of like I missed a lot of episodes and I kind of wasn't really, knowing what was going on live feeds. But yeah, this season's been electric. It's been on
As a
fire.
fan, this is giving me everything that I've been begging US to do.
Come on.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's why I can't complain. It's diverse. It's
Hmm.
people are cutthroat and playing for themselves. There's no fault. There's
It's
not a lot of
small.
followers.
It's small. We knew everybody.
You know
We
what I'm
felt
saying?
like we
Yeah.
even met Julie. She was only
Yes.
here for a blip. We feel like we met Julie. So
Yeah.
normally that does not happen.
But there you go. So that is our recap of this is week 8. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Let me see.
Week
Let's go
9.
with that. Week, whatever. This is our recap for this week, though, of Big Brother Canada. Again, thank you, Ganjo, for joining me for this. Sarah, Jeanette, and Cheyenne were not available this week, but we should be seeing them next week. So, that should be exciting. We got a lot of viewers too. Shout out to the people
Period.
watching. All right.
Shout out to y'all. I mean, thank you for filling in, Isaiah.
Yeah,
Shout out to that.
of
That was fun.
course. So, like I said,
Ooh, okay. Not the frozen screen. I don't know if y'all still here, but shout out to y'all for coming to watch. I had such a fun time podcasting with Isaiah. You can follow me at Ganjo the Dank 2 on Twitter or Ganjo the Dank at Instagram. You can also follow Isaiah at 8 Ball Bangers. So and also follow Silent Podcast. We had such a fun time tonight. Thank you all for watching. Have a good night.